Good morning from Prison Island, England. It's the 6th of August 2025. Now, I lay in bed last night seriously considering leaving YouTube because of the problems with Google. However, this morning I checked my phone and my subscriptions had gone from 16 to over 200. And to say that I was gobsmacked would be an understatement. And I'm truly grateful for that. Thank you. Obviously, the algorithm and hashtags worked in my favour. Now, where do I go from here? And I always like to leave a song in the descriptions of this video as a link rather than playing the song itself. It seems to work better that way. And I will, of course, leave updates to Ren and will always be grateful for anyone's input. Having said that, there are other considerations to make, I believe. I'm old enough to remember the system of mental health in the 60s. And believe me, it was pretty damn dire. And I'll leave a link to explain it better than I can. And the song that was written in 1966 by someone in a mental asylum, as they were called then, who was high on LSD. No, it wasn't a patient. It was a trainee nurse experimenting with patients' medication. And he had no idea what LSD was until he took it. And he got it badly wrong and tripped for a considerable amount of time. But having said that, this song came from that experience. And had he not had that experience, the song would never have been written. And the song is My Lady Eleanor. And it reached number 3 in the British charts in 1969 when the group called Lindisfarne was formed. And as I say, I will leave a link to that story by a guy called Hargreaves, who tells it much better than I can. And I had a little bit of experience with asylums as a very young, naive teenager. I was working as a trainee chef in a restaurant. And the manager and manageress, lovely people. But I didn't know what an alcoholic was, but she was an alcoholic. And one day she relapsed and was unconscious. And the men in white coats came. And they took her off to the local asylum, and she was there for a month, dried out and came back. And as I say, those institutions in those days used all sorts of drugs to subdue people. And that, in actual fact, that stood me in good stead, because when I left home at 17 and went to move to London, I lived in a big building with lots of flats. And one day there was a hell of a racket, smashing windows and all sorts of stuff. And someone knocked on my flat door and said, "Can you help? We've got problems with Tom," which was one of the guys in the downstairs flat. And I recognised what it was. It was DTs, and not nice experience. He was hallucinating that he saw aliens shooting radar at him. And it was horrific to watch. Screamed and shouted, and then he would calm down. It was horrendous, but I knew what to do. I walked to the police station, told them, and then the men in white coats came. And after a month, he came back. So that is my point. This not the first person in the world to create something from an LSD experience, and I'll deal with that in a later post. So thank you for listening to an old man in a chair. Thank you. Bye-bye.